They gonna hate I'm an Israelite. Yeah, I came through with the living light. Yeah, I came through with the living light. Glock 23, yup, it is a big price. They want me on the corner, I'm tryna live life. Extraterrestrial, the discus landed. Think I'm abandoned, Nas came in, yep, I got frantic. Landing in France, yep, I got the bands in. Quick scope, I was camping. Cristo sandals, I'm walking where sand. I'm ahead of night, I got like 5 mansions. I'm rocking the fast, yep, I got a t-shirt. My wife in the Prada Hills, you can't crease. CPN, yep, I got a new lease. This fella Leviathan, that is the real beast. Just like Jesus, I got a big feast. If they tryna cross me, I'ma head up east. Mutually bang, yep, that is a big piece. I'ma go to the game, yep, if I got floor seats. You and I versatile.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Mental Gymnastics. This is a podcast where we talk about spirituality, philosophy, and we try to uncover the mysteries of life. I'm your host, Professor Zeus, aka Mr. You and I Verse, the spiritual scientist. In today's first episode, we'll be talking about the path of enlightenment, esotericism. What is the occult, physics, spiritual mythos, ancient mythology, and science fiction? First and foremost, I gotta give you today's supreme mathematics. Supreme mathematics is a system of understanding numbers alongside concepts and qualitative, representations that are used along the supreme alphabet. Now, all of this information is related to the nation of gods and earths, which is a subsect of the nation of Islam, right? And this is a system of numerology, and they use to, give qualitative value to numbers in addition to quantity. So, for instance, you have 1 equating to knowledge, 2 wisdom, 3 understanding, and so on. So today's supreme mathematics is understanding cipher, 30. Understanding is what shows and proves the completion of knowledge and wisdom. And a cipher is a whole. It's also a person, place, or thing. 360 degrees of knowledge, 120. Wisdom, 120. Understanding, 120. 3 times 120 equals 360. Life and everything in it is part of the cipher. All right, so let's begin. So the path towards enlightenment, it's not an easy journey at all. Since I personally found knowledge of self and knowing and understanding my relationship with the universe, I've been able to compile notebooks of different information over the years. I've come across a vast amount of knowledge, over time, and I believe now is the best time to share with others since, this is why I'm calling this show the Mental Gymnastics. Some people might find faults with the knowledge being provided and presented, but for some people, this knowledge will be the light that they were looking for in life. But it's ultimately up to you to decide where you stand with knowledge, any knowledge for that matter. The important lesson is to always keep an open mind and, do your own research. So there's a strong emphasis and focus on the study of history because history provides a group of people with an identity and information that, will help and guide them in the decision making in the present as well as the future. But, when we study the history of any of the ancient, indigenous, or aboriginal cultures and societies, you see that, they all had some form of mythology or fiction as an integral part of their culture, philosophy, and belief systems. And these same mythological and fictional stories often served as teaching tools to explain phenomena in nature and to explain cosmology, the origin of life, existence, and the universe. Topics and explanations to existential questions offered now in the realm of science. So these ancient and mythological stories were, science fiction or sci-fi stories. Other scholars might use the terms mythological cosmology, symbolic cosmology, astrotheology, stellar theology, space operas, stellar mythos. But all these terms are, synonymous with science fiction, a fictional story, a mythological story with scientific implications. These stories serve as a motivating force which empowered and galvanized, respective groups of people, providing them with the motivation to obtain self-sufficiency, sovereignty, and build great empires, artifacts, and monuments that, still stand today. It's crazy. Now, if we look at physics, right? time and space are considered part of the same fabric in the space-time continuum, right? So there's a direct relationship between something that is far away in terms of time and something that is far away in terms of space. Now, when we think about light is information, and light travels at a speed of about 300 million meters per second. It takes roughly 8 minutes for the light from the sun to reach the planet Earth. So when you go outside and you look at the sun, you're actually seeing the sun as it was 8 minutes ago. That's crazy, right? Now, we always hear the term light year. A light year is the distance that light travels in a year. So for example, if I break it down like this, if there were other beings on another planet that were 8,000 light years away from Earth, those same beings would be looking at Earth right now, today, 2022, but seeing Earth as it was 8,000 years ago, when humans were still in that hunter-gatherer mode, to being able to produce food and create, a form of agriculture. Now, I said all that to say the study of history is similar to the study of otherworldly or extraterrestrial planets. But when it comes to building sovereign civilizations and societies for liberation from adverse forces, the study and application of science, technology, engineering, and math is the most practical way forward. And it's been shown and proven that science fiction stories, they serve as motivation and inspiration for people to become scientists, mathematicians, and engineers. So how is it that science fiction stories have had such an impact on the world, but at the same time, people will turn a blind eye to the impact and, try to look at it as like, oh, you're trying to escape reality and things like that. In that case, I always tell people, you got to look into esoteric knowledge. Esoteric knowledge is the catch-all phrase, or, esotericism is like the catch-all phrase for the framework, procedures, practices within a spiritual pathway, a multidisciplinary field of spiritual knowledge contained within all religions, which concerns the principles and qualities of like magic and mysticism. All the Abrahamic religions, they try to call it theology because the word esoteric is often used interchangeably with, what's that word? Occultism. I know a lot of people heard that word before. But the word occult comes from the Latin word occultus. I think that's how you pronounce it, occultus, which means hidden or secret. It was originally used to describe the area of knowledge that dealt with the hidden realities, such as the spiritual reality of God. This is because, God as we know it is invisible, right? It remains hidden. And any knowledge of God is considered hidden knowledge, right? But we can also argue that we see the benefit of God in everyday actions, right? Just being here, some might argue, is just because of God, right? Occult also relates to magic, astrology, or any system that uses or has knowledge of like secret supernatural powers or agencies, It's usually considered to be anything spiritual that does not belong to, the major religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. But occultism will be the study of these subjects, such as like alchemy and yoga, right? You gotta read between the lines. You know what I mean? Now, religious and spiritual beliefs are probably the strongest motivators of people's actions. So a science fiction based religious doctrine would likely serve as an even, strong motivator and generator of scientists and mathematicians, right? Which is why possibly, the engineers of various Islamic oriented black national groups in America also have had like a science fiction stellar mythos about them as part of their religious doctrines. But if you look at them, they've been able to organize, galvanize, and motivate their members to build nations. A lot of backronyms with the word Islam could be I, self-lord, am master, or I sincerely love Allah's mathematics, right? But if you consider the stellar mythos found in these doctrines of Black American and Moorish American Islamic groups, you could also think about the backronym Intergalactic Space Lessons Astronomically Manifested. Second to the spiritual systems of ancient Egypt, Islam, like the religion of Islam, is a spiritual system which has significantly impacted and influenced scientific, mathematic, and technological development in the world. You know how long it took me to understand like words like algebra, alchemy, and admiral all had roots in like Arabic? I didn't know that. That's crazy. So it's good to study history and ancient mythology, right? It's awesome to entertain yourself with science fiction. But at the same time, you're going to do yourself a disservice if you have more knowledge about ancient, historical, mythological, or even fictional information than you do about real, modern, and active, present information. So if you're the type of person who's fascinated by historical mythologies, science fiction, UFOs, extraterrestrials, I definitely am. You should also allow that fascination, captivation, and preoccupation with mythology, fiction, and fantasy to also be transformed into activation energy to take part in the study, design, development, and creation of science and technology. Humanity is wherever humans are located in our right mind. This includes other planets outside of Earth. The universe is ours. You and I just have to open our minds to accept it. This was Mental Gymnastics with Professor Zeus. I'll see you guys next time. We'll use the activation energy to implement real change in our current life, okay? That's what we got to do. Keep dropping lessons, keep dropping blessings. That's the best we can do, you know what I mean? But I'll see you guys next time. Peace, shalom, salam, rahubat. Stay cool and stay safe.
I got like 5 mans. I'm rocking the fast, yep, I got a teach. My wife in the Prada Hills, you can't crease. CPN, yep, I got a new lease. This fella Leviathan, that is the real beast. Just like Jesus, I got a big feast. If they tryna cross me, I'ma head up east. Mostly bang, yep, that is a big piece. I'ma go to the game, yep, if I got floor seats. You and I verse, so let's form an alliance. Master teacher, I was doing the science. I'ma walk with a big stick, it's an appliance. The knowledge I got, yep, I'ma apply it. Look in the sky, the disc is flying. Look in the sky, the disc is flying. When I'm in a race, the stars aligning. Rico and Jesus, expensive lining. Cartier watch, expensive timing. Elohim gave me the guidance. Spiritual science, I think you should try it. Rico went down, I ain't even buying. They gonna hate, I'm a Nazarite. They gonna hate, I'm an Israelite.